Well, I guess the one thing that I was just watching Governor Inslee, and he was talking about another 10 million funding for small businesses that are 10 and under, and I didn't know if that was the Working Washington grant, but when you go on to that website, it still says that it's closed. So I wasn't sure if that was the one that you had originally had to apply to the EDC for, and then they submitted it to the Working Washington, because that's so that's the state grant for small businesses.
Yeah, Natalie, they just released a press release on this, and that's all we've got right now. Is this is the Working Washington Small Business Emergency Grants is what everyone applied for in early April. This is not an EDC funded grant program. This is through the Washington Commerce Department, and we were just facilitating applications upstream to them. So this is that same thing they Inslee's announced today. I don't think we have the packet yet that we're expecting from them. But hopefully we'll check with Victoria this afternoon and see see what the timeline is on that. This is not a new program.
Also indicated that. I think it also indicated that they had gotten the first ones settled, but there was still a bunch pending. So we may not. It may still be a while before they let us know who's got what.
Right. I think it's just that they completed their review. I've read this only once and only cursory, but it's maybe you have to drill down on this afternoon.
Okay, so that's all I was wondering, whether if I had already originally applied for that one, that they are still going to work through existing applications, or whether we would need to reapply.
No. There's no this is all that same application stream. There's no reapplying for this.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and did we ever find out if anybody, how many got the first one? Or you said they haven't actually released the funds for the first phase.
Right. I think we're waiting for, and maybe Mickey, you know better, but I don't think we've gotten that list and everything yet.
Yeah, the announcement simply said that they had made decisions on some of them, but not all of them. So we still don't actually know when they're going to tell us who got what their decisions were, and we don't know how many are still pending.
Right.
At least that's my understanding from the announcement.
Yeah, I guess if the governor's office has, instead of announcing it on the TV and then businesses not know what to do, they should probably have had that lined up of, okay, this is where you go. We've got it in the works. It's sort of like, it sounds like they don't have it actually. They just announced it but haven't actually instrumented the process of it.
Correct. Yeah, and I think we've got to review this all, what this means here and what our next steps are.
Right.
Because we'll EDC will basically, then reach out to the companies that are getting the grants, the businesses that are getting the grants, and and then there's a whole paperwork shuffle that has to happen at that point. So. Right,
and who am I speaking with now?
This is John Gomez.
John. Oh, so you look after the unemployment and everything?
Unemployment, PPP, EIDL, whatever's happening next. So. Okay,
so I have a question about, I wanted to bring my person that I had was full-time in the summer, but I wanted to put her like on part-time hours, and I wanted to ask about the shared work program. How do I go about finding out, how do I get her signed up for that?
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's been a while since we've done a shared work one, and I apologize. These are, after a while, these things, all these different programs that they have start to run together. The ESD website has a pretty good breakdown on how to apply for it. And I think it's just, hang on, just trying to get it up now. I think it's ESD.gov, shared work, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, shared work apply. So it may be an option for you. This is one of those things that you have to work with ESD on your specific business, like setup and
Right.
how many hours you're reducing your employee to and that kind of thing. And if they're picking up the slack elsewhere, basically this is one of those programs where they reduce your benefit charge, by going through this in the back end. So it's it's good for an employer, especially trying to do what you're going to do. But you have to work with ESD on it to in order to make sure it's all plugged in right. And I know Mickey wants to say something. Or Mickey, you're muted.
Sorry, I was distracted by an email. What did you ask?
Oh, okay. Sorry, you looked like you wanted to jump in on that one.
No, I was totally working on something else.
That was a work face. Okay, got it. Sorry, Natalie, I got distracted by all the things happening on the screen here. Did that help? Or if you just go to esd.wa.gov/shared work, I think is literally the web address. It will give you a breakdown on that. But like I said, you'll have to apply for it.
Okay, so she was kind of like on furlough, like laid off for the winter after Christmas.
Sure.
And then she started to work for the census, which then they closed that down. So then she applied for unemployment. So she's on unemployment. Okay. So is she still considered an employee of mine then if I didn't take her off my payroll?
Well, wait a second. If you're not paying her weekly, she's not on your payroll currently.
Oh, okay. But I mean, so is she considered, like, I don't know how that works if somebody's kind of been laid off for, like, it's as a seasonal person, sure, and then you just rehire her, that I could still apply for that work share program?
Well, it depends on how you're going to bring them back. Sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around what you've got. So do you have other employees, or is it just this one, you and the one employee?
No, I have other employees.
Okay, but you've got one employee, and you want to bring them back on shared work.
Right.
Yeah, you would have to apply. You would still have to apply with ESD for the shared work program, and work out with them. They have eligibility requirements on their website, which you'd have to kind of go through and make sure that you fit. You have to enroll a minimum of 2 permanent employees in the shared work program. They must be hired for permanently. There's like a whole, list of stuff that you'd have to make sure you go with.
Okay, so I need to go onto their website and look at.
Yeah, it's. Are you? Oh, you're on the phone, so I can't chat it to you. Right. Okay. Did you do PPP or anything, or are you just here for unemployment?
No. Yes, I just got my PPP loan, so that's working on my staffing of to make sure I use that money up in the 8 weeks so that I can be able to get it forgiven. But then we can't have people running over each other. Well, at the store. But then if we go into phase 2, where we're able to have people coming into the store, limited, I think that will help.
In-store retail, yes.
Yeah, in-store. Once if the county approves us to go into phase 2.
Yes.
So and I think my PPP will take me to the first week in July.
That sounds about right.
And I think right now it says we're still under the phase 1 until June 1st.
Yeah. So
unless the county approves us to go into phase 2.
Right. Right. And it's one of those things. So, there is, this kind of launches into, and I was on an SBA lender call going over some of the nuances of this now that it's come out. On Friday, and I don't know if you tracked this or not, Friday night, Treasury released the forgiveness application that small businesses are going to need to work with if they want to apply for forgiveness and have that loan converted to a grant. Have you seen this yet?
No, where do I find that?
Can you rattle off your email address? I'll just fire it off to you real quick.
Oh, my email?
Yeah.
Info at justheavenlyfudge.com.
Okay. All right, here you go. I'm just gonna fire it off to you from my.
Okay, it's kind of a long one.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So, so when you got the PPP, did you set it up as did you create a new business account for these funds?
No, they just deposit it right into my Islanders Bank business bank account.
Sure. Okay, but so what we've been telling people is the best thing to do is to, and you've just gotten it, so it's fine. So you'll keep in mind when you spend these funds and you apply for forgiveness, you're going to go through an audit with your bank. So it'll be Islanders, and Islanders I think has been pretty good about letting people know that the best way to do this, the cleanest way for the audit, is to create a separate account just for these funds. And it's better late than never. So it's something worth talking to your banker over there about.
Okay.
That way you can cleanly identify how the funds were spent instead of mixing them with other funds that aren't PPP related and then other expenses. And then if you start trying to peel this apart in 8 weeks, it's going to become very convoluted for you, and you're going to be sending in statements but saying like these parts don't count. It's going to be complicated. So the cleanest thing is to be able to document it all coming out of one account just for the PPP expenses. I just emailed you the forgiveness application. It's quite lengthy. It has some tweaks to it, and you should just keep in mind throughout this entire process that final forgiveness guidance has not been released by Treasury. They keep promising it's going to come. They keep saying it's going to come. As soon as it comes, we're going to post all about it. But it's, I've been on an SBA lender call for the last hour and a half, and there's still questions. The application does help to start to put things, ground these numbers for you in terms of how you can look at them today. There's a lot of people that say, they come to these things and say, well, I saw on, the news this morning that they're considering, the 75-25 split, easing up on that. And it's like, yeah, there's talk about all these changes to the program, but until they get codified, they're just talk. So the best thing we can do right now is to go with what we know, which is going with the 75-25 split, which is going with the 8 weeks. Now the 8 weeks, it's a little interesting because it either starts at the time that the loan is funded, or it can start the day of the first pay period after your money's funded. That makes sense.
Yes,
and if you
because
yeah, go ahead.
Right, because I had people working, so I got my money on the 16th,
Okay.
and then their payroll they'll work my pay periods from the 16th to the 30th, so then I will pay them, so they will actually be paid after I got them before the money. So that's what I was hoping, that it would count from when I'm actually writing them a check. So what you're suggesting is I should open up a second business account.
Yes.
And I think I'll just keep, because I already have, I have Square do my payroll, and they, and I have automatic deposit, so their paychecks go right into the bank the students get handwritten checks. So I don't want to have to change all that. Maybe just take my money that I had in there from the business and put it separate and just keep the PPP money for
Sure.
payroll and rent. But I'm trying to use up most of it for payroll.
Oh, of course. That's what they,
You know,
that's what the
it
program
might
is
even be
designed
more
to
than
do.
70. Yeah, more than
Yeah.
75%.
Right.
So,
Oh, that's
okay.
good.
So I will.
It won't hurt you if you use all of it for payroll. I mean, that's the thing, But,
Right.
so, okay. Well, that's cool. That sounds like a great idea, because Islanders is going to work with you on the audit. And audit, I know, is kind of a scary word, but it just, everybody has to be aware that, all of your, statements and everything that you're submitting for, it's almost like submitting for reimbursement in order to have this all converted to a grant. So you just
Right.
have to wrap your head around that.
Right now, and then mainly most of the things I'm spending money on for the business, I'm putting on my business credit card right now anyway.
Sure.
And I haven't made a payment. I haven't reimbursed. The company hasn't paid the credit card yet. So I think I can kind of set. But that's good. That's a good thing. A good suggestion to know. And I will get in touch with the in the bank.
Sure. And just confirm with them,
that.
About your, making your primary business account into your PPP account and shifting your other activity out of there. Just make sure that you explain that to them, and because again, they're the ones who are going to have to deal with you on the back end and make sure they say, oh yeah, that's no problem, or if they have a reason that would get flagged or become more complicated, like that you should have definitely have that conversation with them. So because you're all going to be in this together in 8 weeks. So.
Right. Yeah, because I think most of the San Juan people we all got our money at around the same time as soon as they released the funds.
It's very staggered. I mean, we've been seeing, I think we're definitely in the, the money is flowing period of this on the PPP side, which is good. It's been good to talk to people that are, more people that are seeing it showing up finally, as opposed to the people that are still, for the most part for several weeks were wondering if they were ever going to see anything or ever hear anything. So.
Right, and I haven't really talked to other business. I'm not sure. Have you heard of anyone else on Lopez that's got their funding?
For PPP, yes.
Yes. Oh, okay,
yes.
Good.
Oh yeah. It's happening, and it really seems to have been happening in the last. I mean, it feels like right around May 1st was when the tap got turned on and those monies started to flow. But definitely in the last 2 weeks, we've been we've been talking to a lot of people who have been getting their funding. So.
Right, and I was glad that it actually came later, because it would have been hard to. I didn't really have. I was the only one on the payroll earlier on, so I wanted to be able to stretch it into July. That once we have some more income coming in, I won't be so dependent. I'll be able to pay payroll hopefully from my the income from the business. But at least it will stretch into that first week. It'll stretch me into that first week of July.
Yeah. Well, and it's I mean, I guess it's good because when the CARES Act was signed and all these these programs were originally introduced, the 8-week period was, I mean, maybe it was optimistic, but it was sort of a best guess. It was a best guess at how much money they could approve across Congress, and for a limited amount of time just to see what was going to happen. So I mean, a lot of people thought that this was going to be over by now.
Right, but for a lot of the businesses that are in states that we've had to stay at home, and we haven't been allowed to work, to have our people, it's a retail business is a lot different than somebody who works for a company that they can do the work at home. But retail, we were basically shut down and shut out. So, or hotels, or some of those other. Service industries where there's nobody to serve anything to. So
no, I hear you. But yeah, did you so I sent you the link to the application, and I see there's a couple other people on here, so I'll put that also in the chat box as well. Just if anybody's joining.
Anybody else has some questions? Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do EIDL, the EIDL, or no?
What was that? The ideal?
That was the first one that you could apply for, and it was actually on the SBA website. That was the one that was
the
the
first
$10,000
yeah.
grant and all that stuff. It was so long
No,
ago.
I didn't.
Okay. All right. Because those, it's funny, that was the first one. That started taking applications before PPP. And that is the program that people are just now starting to get their the responses to their applications from SBA. So, and we've been fielding a lot of questions like, "Hey, I applied for this back in the end of March. Am I ever going to hear anything again?" It's like, well, kind of.